I'm not expecting a letdown this weekend, but I guess that's the whole point. Is do we expect the defense to do what they did this last weekend to Colorado, or are we going to see kind of a hangover week, basically? It happens. I mean, it happens after that type of game. When they come out and be physical and stuff, and then they have Stanford.
Well, I feel like it is Stanford. Like we were saying before, it's the Arizona to Washington. Always comes out and plays us hard, whether Stanford sucks or not. I don't feel like it'll be a hangover game. I feel like we're going to come out and be ready. I mean, Dan had the boys ready to go. He takes it a week at a time. It's not, okay, we just got this big win. Now let's look forward to Washington because Stanford's going to be a cakewalk.
Oh, 100%. We've talked about how, in previous years we've seen these letdowns happen. We've definitely seen Oregon go in and lose to, it doesn't matter if it's state. We've seen Oregon lose to some teams they had absolutely no business losing to in previous years. The difference for me being here is, I think it comes down to the coaching style, the amount of preparation you take in, what you choose, where your focus lies that week. And, obviously I'm not in the locker room. I have no idea personally. This is all speculation, but I don't think Dan strikes me as the type of dude who's going to allow this kind of hangover to happen. Something tells me as soon as they hit the practice field on Monday, it was on to Stanford, business as usual. We're going to go out there and we're going to be ourselves and we're going to, assert our dominance like they expect to do week in and week out. So, in terms of a hangover game, I could see it being maybe a thing where there's a slow start. I could see it being a thing maybe Stanford puts up a few more points than we're thinking just because of the defensive performance last week and where that lies. But in terms of, the long run of the duration of the game, with all due respect to Stanford, I really don't see there being a hangover type game happening this week, at least in my opinion.
Well, and I think that's the important part because that's the only thing is we just mentioned it. There's been those fluky games where Oregon has gotten behind, come back. They should never have lost, not even been challenged by Stanford. Then there's those games where Oregon's been controlled, but we've allowed Stanford to come back and take victory from us. And then there was those years vice versa where Stanford's really good and Oregon kind of meh, and Oregon goes and hurts Stanford. So it's kind of that jinx. Yeah, it's like a curse to a degree. I don't see it this year. I think Stanford is right where everyone thought they would be as potentially one of the worst Power 5 teams, and they are 1-3 right now. And they lost to Sacramento State, an FCS team. Thanks, Stanford, for ruining the Pac-12 non-con record against FCS teams this season. So, I don't see this the way that Lanning is doing the team we have now. I don't see it, but would I be shocking if the first quarter is a little more uncomfortable than we would like it to be? No.
No, and that's kind of my point too. I just don't think Stanford has the means to hang around. Like we said, clearly, the run game subpar, passing game's far from spectacular. Defensive wise, I think the only way that they would really be able to hang in that game is if they're able to come up with a lot of big plays. Turnovers are happening frequently, and it's just based off what they've done playing teams like Sac State and a down BYU team, and it's not happening.
Yeah, I could see that first quarter kind of being maybe even the first half being a little uncomfortable, but I don't foresee it really kind of getting out of hand to that point where we're sitting here texting each other like, oh shit, we're uncomfortable the whole game. Like,
I see it going about. I think Lanning wants to make a point this weekend again, and just keep doing it, especially before a bye week to rest up. I think mid-third quarter we're going to see the starters go out,